All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say call Halalyum Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakal Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who have taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book. All right, so in this lesson, all right, I want to get into the book of Ephesians, the second chapter, all right, a little portion of it. All right, I'm not going to go through the whole chapter, but, I was reading it, so I want to get into it, man, all right? So let's get right into it, man. Let's start off with Ephesians, the second chapter, the 11th verse. All right, now, the book of Ephesians is a letter that Apostle Paul wrote, all right, to the Ephesians in Ephesus. That's why it's called Ephesians, all right, because he was writing to the Ephesians that were in Ephesus, man. Right now, who were these Ephesians that were at Ephesus, man? All right, these Ephesians were Israelites, man. He wasn't just writing to anybody at Ephesus, all right? He was writing to the Israelites, all right, that were at Ephesus, man. All right, matter of fact, let's prove that. All right, because when you go to the first chapter, all right, at the beginning of every letter that Paul wrote, all right, he addresses who he is writing to. All right, now it says Ephesians, all right, 1:1. Paul, an apostle of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach by the will of God, to the saints which are at Ephesus and to the faithful in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. All right, so he's writing to who? To the saints which are at Ephesus. All right. There's only one group of people, one nation, one race of people that are known as the saints in the Bible. All right, so let's prove that. All right, let's get the book of Psalms. All right, the 50th chapter. All right, and we'll grab the 5th verse. All right, so this is Psalms 50:5. All right, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And that was only one nation, all right, that have made a covenant with the Heavenly Father by sacrifice. That is the nation of Israel. All right, there's only one nation of people that are known as saints in the Bible. All right, now let's also prove that with Psalms 148. All right, let's get Psalms 148 and 14. All right, he also exalted the horn of his people. Who are the Lord's people? The Israelites. All right, he also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints. All right, even the children of Israel, a people near unto him, praise ye Yahweh. All right, there's only one race of people, one nation, one people, all right, that's known as saints in the Bible. Let's grab Psalms 50:5 one more time. All right, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. So the Lord said, gather my saints unto me. Who are those saints? Those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. That is the Israelites, man. All right, so let's get back into Ephesians. All right, so now this will make more sense when we read Ephesians the second chapter, all right, starting at the 11th verse. All right, it says Ephesians 2:11, it says, wherefore remember that ye being in times past Gentiles in the flesh. All right, so these Israelites that he is writing to, all right, he said that ye were Gentiles in past times in the flesh. All right, why were he calling the Israelites, all right, Gentiles? All right, he was calling them Gentiles because they were scattered amongst the Gentile lands, taking on Gentile customs, all right, worshiping Gentile gods, dressing like the Gentiles, speaking the Gentile languages. All right, a lot of them didn't even know that they were Israelites. So that's why he was writing to them to let them know that they were Israelites, so they could come back to the fold, all right, through Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, man. All right. Wherefore, remember that ye being in times past Gentiles, yeah, because before they came back into the fold, all right, in the faith of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, all right, they were Gentiles, man. All right, because they were taking on Gentile customs, worshiping Gentile gods, all right, in the Gentile lands, eating Gentile foods, taking on the fashion of the Gentiles, dressing like them. In every which way, they were taking on Gentile customs. So that's how they became Gentiles, the Israelites. All right, they became Gentiles. These are the Gentiles that receive salvation. All right, these Gentiles, the Gentiles that received salvation in the New Testament were not actual Gentiles. They were not natural Gentiles. These Gentiles were dispersed Israelites that were amongst the Gentile nations. All right, they were known as Gentiles because they were scattered amongst the Gentile lands, taking on Gentile customs. All right, speaking Gentile languages, worshiping the Gentile gods. All right, this is the mystery of the Gentiles. This is the understanding that everybody does not have. All right, because it wasn't given to them, man. This is what they don't understand. People that think that these Gentiles that receive salvation, all right, that Paul was writing to, all right, they think that these Gentiles were of other nations. No, salvation is only of the nation of Israel. The Lord only loves one people, one nation. That is the nation of Israel. You understand? He only died on that cross for the nation of Israel, man. All right, but that's another lesson for another day, man. All right, but anyway, let's get back into this. Ephesians 2:11. Wherefore, remember that ye being in times past Gentiles. Yeah, so he's talking to the Israelite foreigners, the ones that were scattered amongst the Gentile nations. All right, he said that ye being in times past Gentiles in the flesh. All right, because the Israelites became Gentiles because they were scattered. All right, they learned the works of the Gentiles. Matter of fact, let's also prove that with let's get what's that, 1 Corinthians, all right, 12. All right, he said it too in 1 Corinthians 12, or it says 1 Corinthians 12:1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren. All right, now the book of Corinthians is a letter that Paul wrote to the Corinthians, all right, in Corinth, Greece, all right, which were Israelites, man. All right, 1 Corinthians 12:1. Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant, that ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Yeah, so he's talking to the Israelites that you were Gentiles, because that's what they were. All right, before they came back into the fold through the blood of Yahweh Shai, man. All right, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led. Exactly, that's how they became Gentiles, because they were worshiping the idols of the Gentiles. All right, carried away as unto these dumb idols as ye were led. Matter of fact, let's get that in Psalms 106, I think it is. Excuse me, Psalms 106. Matter of fact, let me grab it real quick. All right. It says, is it Psalms? Yeah, Psalms 106 and 35. All right. Psalms 106 and 35. All right. It says, Psalms 106 and 35, but were mingled among the heathen and learned their works. Yeah, so the Israelites were mingled among the heathen and learned the works of the heathen. All right. They learned the works of the heathen, meaning they were worshiping the heathen gods. All right. They took on all the customs of the heathen, their fashion, dressed up like them, talked like them. All right. That's why when Yahweh Shai was being put on that cross, what was that sign they put over him, man? All right, King of the Jews. In what language was it in? Latin, Hebrew, and Greek. Why? Because you had Jews that spoke Latin, Hebrew, and Greek. All right, they took the customs of the other nations, the languages of the other nations. All right, that's how they became Gentiles. All right, the Israelites. That's how the Israelites became Gentiles, man. All right, because they learned the works of the Gentiles. All right. So these Gentiles that Paul was writing to were Israelites. They were not actual Gentiles. All right. The Gentiles that Paul was sent to, all right, were Israelite foreigners, man. All right, dispersed Israelites that were dispersed amongst the Gentile nations, man. All right, not actual Gentiles. All right, salvation is not for every nation, man. All right, this is what you people with no wisdom, knowledge, or understanding of the Bible believe, that these Gentiles were of the other nations, like the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Canaanites, the Edomites. Okay. All right, the Cushites. All right, nah, man. But anyway, let's just keep reading, all right? Ephesians 2:11, all right? Wherefore, remember that ye being in times past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands. Yeah, so you had the Jews, all right, that were in the land, all right, that were that took on the ways of the customs of the Jews, all right, the old customs, all right. They were calling the Israelite foreigners Gentiles. They were calling them uncircumcised, man. They were being called uncircumcision by that which was circumcision, man. All right, the Jews that were in the land and they kept the customs of the Jews, all right. That was known as the circumcision, but they were calling the Israelite foreigners uncircumcision, all right. Let's keep reading. It says that at that time ye were without Yahushai, being aliens, all right, from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenant of promise, having no hope and without God in the world. Yeah, because before Yahushai came, all right, there was enmity between Israel and the Most High, man. All right, but he took away that enmity, man. All right, he brought peace back he brought peace back us between the Most High and Israel, man. Yahushai. All right. So it says, let's read from verse 11 again. It says, wherefore remember that ye being in times past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands, that at that time ye were without Yahushai, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of the promise, having no hope and without God in the world. But now in Hamashiach Yahushai, ye who sometimes were afar off are made nigh by the blood of Hamashiach. Yeah, because he didn't die just for the southern kingdom. All right, he died for the northern kingdom and those that were scattered, man. All right, because you had scattered Jews as well, man. All right, that's why he said, I have sheep that are not of this fold. All right, so he brought the Gentiles back, all right, to the Heavenly Father as well, not just the ones that were in the land, man. All right, the Israelite foreigners, the dispersed Israelites, man. All right, so it says, at that time ye were without Yahushai. All right, yeah, because that's why they were called Gentiles, because they were without Yahushai, man. All right, that's why they were still being, without Yahushai, ye will be Gentiles, man. All right, the Israelites foreigners, man, or the ones that were dispersed, or even if, yeah. All right, it says that at that time ye were without Yahushai. All right, hold on, let me flip through my pages real quick, because I got my pages in front of me as well. All right, let's keep reading. It says that at that time ye were without Yahushai, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without God in the world. Yeah, because at one time the Lord was not dealing with us, man. All right, he casted us away. All right, but Yahushai brought us back to the Heavenly Father, man. He brought peace between Israel and the Heavenly Father, man. All right. So that's why I said that we having no hope and without God in the world, because the Lord Israel at one time the Lord wasn't dealing with, man. Matter of fact, let's get that in First Peter's. All right, let's get that First Peter 2. All right, starting at verse. I'll start at verse 9. All right, it says, 1 Peter 2:9, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, talking about the nation of Israel. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. All right, which in time past were not a people. Yeah, because the Lord casted us off. He wasn't dealing with us at one time. So we became a no people, the Israelites, all right? Which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of the Most High. Yeah, we are now the people of the Most High once again. Because Yahushai, all right, he slayed that enmity, all right, between the Heavenly Father and Israel. He brought peace back to us between the Heavenly Father and Israel, man. All right, Yahushua the Messiah, which in time past were not a people, but now are the people of the Most High, which had not obtained mercy, you see, but now have obtained mercy, all right, through the blood of Yahushua, man. All right, he created peace, all right, between Israel and the Most High, Yahweh. All right, Yahweh. All right, so that's why it says right here in Ephesians 2, all right, that at that time ye were without Yahushai, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope. You see, at one time we had no hope and without God in the world, all right? But now in Hamashiach Yahushai, ye who sometimes were afar off are made nigh by the blood of Yahushai, you see? All right, he brought us back to the Heavenly Father, man. All right. Now, let's keep going because this is a point I had wanted to make. All right. It says, for he is our peace. All right. That's why he's known as the Prince of Peace. All right. He brought peace back, between us and the Heavenly Father, man. For he is our peace, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of partition between us. Yeah. All right. Between the Gentiles and the Jews, man. All right, which they're all Israelites, man. All right, the scattered Israelites, the northern and southern kingdom. All right, he brought all of us back, man. All right, for he is our peace, who has made both one and has broken down the middle wall of partition between us, having abolished in his flesh the enmity. All right, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace. Yeah, he brought peace back between us and the Heavenly Father. All right, whether you were scattered or not scattered. All right, you know, but now we're all scattered. All right, it says in that he might reconcile. All right, and this word, this just is one word right here lets you know that he's writing to the nation of Israel, man. And that he's talking to the nation of Israel. He's not talking to no other nation. All right, we're going to get this word reconcile, man. All right, it says, and that he might reconcile both unto God in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. All right, let's get this word reconcile. All right, because the word reconcile, when you break it down, the word re meaning back or the word re meaning again. And the word concile, all right, comes from the Latin word, I think it's the Latin or Greek, conciliare, meaning to make friend. All right, so again, to make friend is what the word reconcile means. All right, you know, there was only one nation, all right, that was a friend to the Heavenly Father. All right, the word reconcile means to be brought back or to make friend again. If these other nations were not friends of the Heavenly Father in the first place, how can they be friends again with the Heavenly Father? All right, come on, man. All right, so let's get this word reconcile. All right, it says to reconcile completely. All right, to reconcile back again. All right, bring back a former state of harmony. Yeah, Yahushua brought back that former state of harmony, all right, through his blood, all right, through his death on the cross, man. All right, because at one time, like again, the Lord wasn't dealing with us. He casted us off. That's why we became a no people. But through Yahushua's blood, we became the Lord's people once again, man. All right, that's why it says here. Let's get it again. 1 Peter 2:9. All right. It says, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, talking about the nation of Israel, that ye should show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past were not a people. Yeah, because we were so wicked that the Lord wasn't dealing with us anymore. He casted us off. All right, which in time past were not a people, but now are the people of God, which have not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy, yeah, through the blood of Yahushua, man. All right, we were a no people at one time. All right, you see, like it says right here, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of the Most High, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy, because we were the people of the Most High, but the Lord casted us out. But through the blood of Yahushua, we became, he brought peace back between, he brought peace, all right, between us and the Heavenly Father. He brought us back to the Heavenly Father, man. You understand? I'm trying to make it so you can understand, all right? So that, you know, this word reconcile means to bring back to a former state, man, all right? He made us friends with the Heavenly Father again. The other nations were never friends with the Heavenly Father, man. So how can they come back to the Heavenly Father, man? If the Heavenly Father Yahweh never dealt with the other nations, man, at all. All right, at all, man. All right, yeah. All right, so let's go back real quick. All right, so it says right here, it says, having abolished in his flesh the enmity even to the law of commandments contained in ordinances. All right, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace, and that he might reconcile, all right, both unto God in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. Let's go back to this word reconcile. All right, I got the etymology of the word reconcile right here. It's a verb, all right? Mid-14th century, reconcile, transitive in reference to persons, all right? To restore to union and friendship after estrangement or variance. Come on, man. All right? The Lord restored, all right? The blood of Yahushua restored the friendship between the Heavenly Father and the nation of Israel, which is you Negroes, you Latinos, you Native Americans, man. All right, if the other nations have never had friendship with their Heavenly Father in the first place, how can that friendship be restored? You understand? This is how you know he's talking to the nation of Israel, man. All right, it says also of God or the anointed to restore. All right, mankind sinners. Who are the sinners? The nation of Israel, man. Because what is sin? Sin is when you break the law. Sin is when you transgress, meaning to go against the law. The law was only given to one nation. Those sinners are the Israelites, all right? To restore, to favor, or grace, all right? And directly from Latin, reconciliare, to bring together again. So the Lord, through his blood dying on that cross, he brought us back to the Heavenly Father again. These other nations were never with the Heavenly Father. You understand? All right. Regain, win over again. All right. We won the Lord's love over again, man. All right. Through the blood of Yahushua. All right. From meaning again. All right. And concile, come from conciliere. All right. Make friendly. All right. So again, we were made friendly with the Heavenly Father through the blood of Yahushua. That's what Apostle Paul is breaking down right here. We were brought back to the Heavenly Father. The nation of Israel was brought back to the Heavenly Father through the blood of Yahushua. All right? That he might reconcile, that Yahushua might reconcile both unto God. All right? In one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. All right, matter of fact, let me get first Colossians 1. Let's grab that real quick. Colossians 1:21. All right. It says, and you were sometimes alienated and enemies in your mind by wicked works, yet now have been reconciled. Yeah, we were alienated from the Most High, right? We became Gentiles, all right? You know, we were alienated from the Most High, man, all right? Before we came back, you know, through the blood of Yahweh, man, you know, through the blood, before we came back to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai, we were alienated. We were Gentiles, man. Because we took on the Gentile ways, worshiping the Gentile gods, taking on the customs of the Gentiles, you know, celebrating their so-called holy days or holidays, man, stuff like that, man. But now we're no longer part of this world, man. We're not of this world, man. All right, we're not alienated no more. All right, it says, yet now has he reconciled. Yeah, we're reconciled back to the Heavenly Father through the blood of Yahweh Shai, man. All right, you understand? All right. It says, and he came and preached peace to you, which were afar off, and to them that were nigh. Yeah, all right. The Jews that were in the land at that time, and the scattered Israelites, man. You know, these are the Gentiles that Paul was writing to, man. All right, Israelites. You understand? Not actual Gentiles, not natural Gentiles. All right, as in the other nations, like the Chinese and Japanese. All right, the East Indians. No, salvation is not for them, man. The word is not for them. The Lord only gave his word to one people, one nation, bro. All right, that's Psalms 147, man. So that was really the whole point of this lesson. I had wanted to go into this word reconcile, man. You know, this is how you know he's talking to the nation of Israel. First, when you go into chapter 1, all right, again, because Paul addresses who he's writing to at the beginning of every letter that he wrote, man. All right. It says Ephesians chapter 1. These Ephesians were Israelites that were in Ephesus, man. All right, which was in Asian Minor, which today will be Turkey, man. All right, it says Ephesians 1:1. Paul, an apostle of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, by the will of God, to the saints which are at Ephesus. So he was writing to the saints, which we already established who the saints was. There's only one race, one nation, one people known as the saints throughout all the Bible. And that is the nation of Israel. We proved that with Psalms 50:5. All right. Psalms 148. All right. Come on, man. All right. So when you get this word reconcile, you can't bring something back if you were never part of it in the beginning, man. You know? These other nations aren't part of the covenant, man. You know? Matter of fact, let me get Jeremiah real quick. Cause I seen a let me flip through my scripts real quick. I think it's Jeremiah. Hold on, give me a second, man. Let me just flip through my pages real fast. I forgot what chapter it was in. I think it was Jeremiah 10, actually. All right. Jeremiah 10:25. All right. The other nations never knew the Heavenly Father. So how can they be reconciled? How can they be reckoned back, all right, to the Heavenly Father, man? All right. Jeremiah 10. All right. These other nations never knew the Heavenly Father by name. They can't come back to the Heavenly Father. They were never part of the covenant to begin with. All right. You see? All right. Jeremiah 10:25. All right. This is Jeremiah, man, speaking, all right? It says, pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not, all right? The heathen, these other nations, the people that are not Israelites, they never knew the Heavenly Father, man. Pour out the fury upon them, all right? This is what the Lord, this is what Yahweh Shai, this is what Jeremiah is saying to the Heavenly Father. Pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not. All right, and upon the families, the other nations that call not on thy name. That's right, man. These other heathen, these other nations, they don't know the Heavenly Father and they don't call on the name of the Heavenly Father, man. All right, the Lord's name is only in Israel, man. All right, come on, bro. Matter of fact, let's get that also in 2nd Ezra, the 3rd chapter. All right, let's bring that out as well. All right. 2nd Ezra, the 3rd chapter. All right, let's get it real quick. All right, and then we're going to end this video. All right, 2nd Ezra 3, and I'll start around the 30th. I'll start at verse 27, all right? It says, 2nd Ezra 3 and 27, it says, and so thou gavest the city over into the hands of thy enemies. Yeah, all right? Are their deeds better? Are their deeds then any better that inhabit Babylon? All right? That they should therefore have dominion over Zion. Yeah, so, that the Ezra was complaining to the Heavenly Father, like, how these other nations rule over us, man. How they ruling over us when we're your chosen people. All right, they never knew you. They commit so much sin, and they have all this wealth, and we have nothing. But we gonna get to the point in a second. It says, and their deeds then. Let me read that again. It says, are their deeds then any better that inhabit Babylon, that they should therefore have the dominion over Zion? For when I came thither and had seen impieties without number, then my soul saw many evildoers in this 13th year, so that my heart failed me. For I have seen how thou sufferest them sinning, and has spared wicked doers, and has destroyed thy people, which are the Israelites, and had preserved thy enemies, and has not signified it yet. So he was like, yo, why are we being destroyed? And they're not, and they're more wicked than we are, because they never knew you by name, and all they do is commit iniquity. All right, it says, I do not remember how this way may be left. Are they then of Babylon better than Zion? Yeah. Are any of these other nations better than Zion? No. All right, so this is why, Ezra's the prophet, which is Ezra. All right, Esdras is the Greek way of saying Ezra. All right, are they then better? Are they then of Babylon better than Zion? Or is there any other people? This is the point. Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Yeah, because the Lord only knows one people. All right, and only one nation knows the Lord, which is the nation of Israel. You Negroes, you Latinos, you Native Americans, man. These other nations never knew the Heavenly Father, and the Heavenly Father never knew any of these other nations besides Israel, man. So how can other nations be reconciled? The word reconcile means to bring back again, to make friendly again with the Heavenly Father. They were never part of the covenant or friends with the Heavenly Father in the first place. So how can they be brought back, man? All right. Or is there any other people that knoweth thee beside Israel? Or what generation has so believed thy covenants as Jacob? You see? And yet their reward appeareth not, and their labor had no fruit. For I have gone here and there through the heathen, and I see that they flow in wealth and think not upon thy commandments. And it's the same thing today, man. The other nations rule over us. They flow in wealth, starting with Esau, Edom. All right. They rule over us and flow in wealth. All right. Starting with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and all these other nations. All right. It says, weigh thou therefore our wickedness now in the balance, and theirs also that dwell in the world, and so shall thy name nowhere be found but in Israel. Come on, man. You see? Or when was it that they which dwell upon the earth have not sinned in thy sight? Or what people have so kept thy commandments? So that it says, thou shalt find in Israel by name has kept thy precepts, but not the heathen. Come on, bro. Woo! All right. And it also says, again, let's get back to this word reconcile. All right. It says, to restore to union and make friendship after estrangement or variance. All right. I looked up this word estrangement. It says, the fact of no longer being on friendly terms or part of a social group. All right. So we were no longer on friendly terms with the Heavenly Father. Right. But through the blood of Yahushua, we became friends again with the Heavenly Father. That's what the word reconcile means. We were reconciled, all right? It says from meaning again, and conciliere, make friendly, all right? So we were again made friends with the Heavenly Father, man. All right? Once again, man, the nation of Israel. You Negroes, you Latinos, you Native Americans. So that's why we read right here. All right, it says, and that he might reconcile both unto God in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. Yeah, he made us friends with the Heavenly Father once again, man. All right, so that's, the main point of this video, reconcile. We were reconciled back. All right, only one nation could be reconciled, be made friends with the Heavenly Father once again, man. All right, and that he might be reconciled both unto God in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby. You see? All right. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. All right. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Raktazah. This lesson was edifying. Okay. All right. I want to say call halal yum. Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim Rakal Quitash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught me this truth and who rule well in this truth. Shalom to the 144,000 and the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel that is scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and mercy unto you, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You are the true Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. You are the true chosen people of the book. All right, so with that being said, until the next one, Shalom.